Hi, beautiful souls. It's Marav Richter here, and I just wanted to touch on something that is trending in the news, and we're getting a lot of insight around, and it's kind of an unconventional perspective. And I wanted to be clear here that I'm not here to talk necessarily politics, though of course that weighs in on it. I'm not here to necessarily talk about spirituality, that kind of weighs in on it, of course. I'm here to talk about, we have something that's going on, this thread that's going on in our world today, which is we are tapping into a moral conscious, a moral compass that we haven't actually tapped into as a whole, as a progressive, as a society, and in the progress that we've done over the last 60, 80, 90 years, that we haven't actually had this same sort of passion and attachment to what's going on in our world for a long time. We haven't seen this for a long time. Now, I'm a big believer in cycles of time. I'm a big believer, the spiritual perspective of karma, or having things recur until we've learned our lessons. It's something that we're all familiar with, something that we've all talked about and have learned about and feel viscerally. We know that to be true. And yet we keep having the exact same issues come up in our world that keeps touching on some live wire, some nerve ending that we actually don't know what to do with. We have people that are enraged on both sides of the equation. Lots of media creating a lot of different slants on, from the whole litmus, from the whole perspective of all the way leftist media to rightist media, all giving their own perspectives. But what we do know is that we're having a lot of people lit up and speaking and passionate about what's going on right now. When we see the images of the immigration, the detention centers, when we see images of children being separated from their families, it wakes something up in us that we didn't actually know existed before this. And it's actually creating something in us that is triggering something. We are all on one side of it, whether we're realizing it or not, conscious of it or not. What we're doing is we're actually awakened to something that is our protection mode. We're protecting children. We actually can see the innocence and the, this feeling of this victimization of small children being separated from their families, which is awakening in us something that we know is wrong, that we've seen as being wrong in previous times in our lives. Now, here's the thing I wanted to actually talk about. That the thing that is the polar opposite of love is not hate. In fact, when you love, you are passionately, emotionally invested in something, and when you hate, you are equally passionately, emotionally invested in something. The opposite of love is apathy. All great justice movements, all great political movements have always started from this feeling of passionate progression, from this feeling that is the antithesis to justice is apathy. So we have been living for a long time in this world that we have this, ostrich perspective, right? There's so many people in the spiritual world that have said, turned off the news, stopped reading the paper. They don't want to have anything that isn't positive in their life because they don't want to be have that vibration or have that awareness in their life. And really now is time that the world is actually saying, wake up. We've got to do something. We've got to put some things in place. We cannot be apathetic anymore. We cannot have our heads in the sand anymore. Now's the time that we're being woken up. Cycles of time repeat themselves until we learn the lesson. Cycles of time will keep recurring and keep repeating until we have learned and gleaned every single pearl of wisdom that we have had to glean from that before. So just think to yourself for a moment, where is it in your life that you're being apathetic, and what is it that you can do? Is there any singular thing that you can do to actually progress this conversation forward? Not in a he said, she said, not in a pointing fingers, not in the way that is accusatory or has you feeling, just in a rage and want to stick your head in the sand anymore, but where can you really come in and start to make change and make awareness and bring this, what you're feeling, to the front and center of stage. Otherwise, we're going to just keep repeating this exact same scenario. We are actually at the epicenter of some huge change. This is just the a microscope, a microscopic look at what's going to happen. The world is quickly changing, and we're going to see a lot more immigration and migratory patterns in humanity. We're actually just on the verge of seeing just a lot of shifts going on. And this conversation, what we do now and how we deal with the migrant and immigration issues that we're dealing with today is going to keep repeating in the next little bit. When we look at history and when we look at the cycles of time, we see that in fact lots of things that could have been done, that hindsight gives us 20/20 vision, all the things that could have been done and could have been put into place to prevent some of the tragedies in migration and immigration policies of the past can be put in place today. So my question is, what are you willing to do today? Where are you willing to put this passion, this very visceral emotional response? Where are you willing to put it into place today? I'd love to hear from you. Private message me or put it into this chat or email me. I'd love to hear what it is that you're willing to do to use this emotional energy and to catalyze it to the next part of our evolution. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow.